We will all agree with me that there are days when our emotions get the better of us. There are days we come into our classrooms fatigued, frustrated with all the happenings around. How do you engage your learners? How do you stay motivated and at the same time motivate your learners to be actively engaging in the classroom? I came across a saying from Aristotle, and it says, anybody can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, and to the right degree, and at the right time, and for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power, and it is not easy. Daniel Goleman, in his book, describes emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions while also being attuned to the emotions of others. Daniel Goleman outlined 5 components of an emotionally intelligent individual. It includes self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. The best way as an educator to teach emotional intelligence is for us as educators to be the beacon of emotional intelligence. In our environment, we should demonstrate emotional intelligence as educators. This could be shown through our classroom lessons, our interaction with colleagues, parents, leaders, and every other person that we come across with. In teaching in a classroom with students from different nationalities, you must be mindful of your actions, examples, gesticulations, exclamations, and so on. We are going to look at how we can apply these components in our teaching and learning experience. The first component by Daniel Goleman is self-awareness. Self-awareness means to be aware. Be aware of your emotions. Be aware of your strengths, your weakness. Be aware of what triggers you and the emotion in which it triggers. You should also be aware of how these emotions affect the people around you. Be true to yourself and show actions to improve on areas of weakness. Engage in group and individual discussions with your learners to help them be more aware of their emotions. Help your learners recognize their emotions and discuss ways they can express themselves positively. When they come up with challenges, ask them how they feel. Even when they begin their day, you can ask them, how are you feeling? So that they'll be able to express the state in which they are and also look for ways to help them come out from some states that are negative. Let's take for an example. You observe that a learner procrastinates on assignments or tasks until the last minute, leading to rushed and subpar work. Through self-reflection, you can guide the learner to identify triggers of procrastination. These triggers could be social media distractions, could be fear of failure. Then you develop strategies in which you and the learners can overcome this procrastination. You can help them by setting smaller and manageable goals. You can also help them with time blocking. You can pair them with an accountability partner, someone that will help, guide, and remind them to do their assignments on time. Another way to apply self-awareness in the classroom is to recognize different learning styles. Some learners that struggle with comprehending complex ideas may understand these ideas quickly if they watch some educational videos or they participate in hands-on activities. When you realize the learning style of each learner, then you relate your lesson delivery to accommodate these learners and their different learning styles. Another component of emotional intelligence is self-control or self-regulation. Self-regulation refers to the ability to manage one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors effectively to achieve desired goals. You need to stay in control of your emotions. Do not lash out when things get out of control. There's a saying that says that you think better when you are calm. Be accountable for your actions. As educators, if our learners see you display these qualities in the learning environment and in the classroom, they will emulate these characteristics and they will apply them in their everyday lives. When you have days that you are tensed, you can take breathing exercises so everyone around you can stay calm and positive. In the learning environment, self-regulation is crucial, both for you as an educator and for the students. It helps you to monitor and control the learning process, including setting of goals, planning, monitoring the process, and adjusting strategies when needed. Let's look at ways in which we can apply self-regulation in the classroom. Have you heard of positive chants or class mantra? These are positive words that you can use to inspire your learners every morning when they get into the classroom. It could be as simple as saying, I am smart, I am intelligent, and I can do exploits. If they say it every day in the classroom, it will help them start their day in a positive light. The more you say something, the more you believe. Guide your learners to regularly assess their understanding of a lesson content through self-assessment, quizzes, practice exams, or reflection journals. This will help your learners to know where they need help and where their strength is. It can also help you as an educator to know where to help your learners become better. Breathing exercises, as I said earlier, can help you to feel calmer and relaxed. It helps to avoid anxiety or panic during challenging situations. We can also teach our learners some breathing exercises. Let's look at this example. Taking a deep breath. Count to 10. Then breathe out. You realize that your muscles are calm. And if you're feeling tense before, you realize you're feeling better. There are so much more exercises that we can do. Let's look at another component called self-motivation. I have two scenarios for you. The first one, you have something to do. You're not excited or passionate about it, but you know you need to get it done. Here comes a feeling of obligation to do it, so you do it grudgingly. Now let's look at this other scenario. You have something to do, and you are so interested and invested in the task. You might have even assigned this task to yourself rather than receiving it from someone else. You are happy to put in the time and effort to complete it. Looking at these scenarios, which one will you be more effective? Which one will you be more fulfilled after you have achieved the result? The best type of motivation is self-motivation. Self-motivation is the drive that makes you achieve something or complete a task without much effort. It could be due to interest and passion. It could be that you want to feel competent and capable in a particular skill or ability. It could be external rewards like money, power, status. But all these things motivate you to do more or complete a task. When it comes to the learning environment, we want our learners to function in a way in which they are self-motivated. It means that if you are not there to remind them, if you are not there to explain some certain things to them, they can go the extra mile and put in the extra effort to learn and achieve a desired task. If you have a student who only completes her assignments when she is being nagged or faced with certain consequences, that is not self-motivation. As educators, we should be able to motivate our learners to be able to motivate themselves to want to learn. If you introduce a new unit and you take time to discuss the learning objectives with the class, you let them know what they will gain at the end of the lesson. You can even allow them to make up their own objectives and their own goals for that particular lesson. This could motivate them and allow them to put in the extra effort so they can achieve that goal or the desired outcome. The next component is empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It involves being able to perceive and comprehend others' emotions, perspectives, and experiences, and also to respond with compassion and support. Teachers model empathy in their everyday interactions with their students, their colleagues, and the school leaders. They demonstrate compassion, understanding, and patience in their words, actions, serving as positive role models to the learners. If you're not able to display empathy in your classroom, how will your learners display empathy to their peers? To demonstrate empathy in the classroom, as an educator, you can facilitate class discussions that encourage students to consider different viewpoints and understand their experiences of others. You can practice active listening with the students. Allow students to express their thoughts, their concerns, or their feelings. When a student is talking in a class setting or a group, let everyone give that student full attention. If you're speaking with a student, maintain eye contact and use body language to affirm that you are listening. You can also go over what the student has said again to make sure you understand the message that the student is passing across. Validate your students' emotions by paraphrasing and reflecting back what they have said. Take time to understand your students' individual needs. Take time to know when they have a change in their countenance, when something is bothering them, or their behavior has changed. Then you can have a discussion with them, or if it concerns the learning environment or the teaching and learning strategies, you can adjust it accordingly. Encourage your students to always show kindness, cooperation, and empathy towards their peers. The last component is social skills. Social skills are the abilities that enable individuals to effectively interact and communicate with others in various social situations. From building and maintaining relationships, to navigating social environments, to collaborating with others, we need social skills. For your learners to be able to interact with other peers on the global platform, we need social skills. These skills include communication skills, collaboration and teamwork, conflict resolution. In conflict resolution, it involves identifying sources of conflict, managing emotions, and finding mutually acceptable solutions. When you have two learners with conflicting ideas or two different ideas on how to prefer solution to a problem, you can let them express themselves, guide them as they share their ideas, help them listen actively to each other, then come to a compromise. These emotional intelligence skills are very important for you as an educator and also for your learners. So I advise and I implore you to start practicing these skills in your learning environment.